Wake me up inside. What contradiction? I believe the Wright started out as it should have. The victim stood with his back to the spring, and the accused stood right in front of him. But we now know that the victim then moved into the spring. Polkunka, that is absurd. Hey, Sabine. Yes, I guess? I guess I'm tired. I'm certainly yawning a lot. And I'm tired. This means the accused location differs from what her benevolence's insight indicates. Aung! Then where do you propose the accused stood once she donned Lady Kira's robes? Based on the sound of the victim's footsteps, I believe Maya was standing here.
Take that!
Until this moment, we've all just assumed that Abbot Inmi and Ms. Fey were standing where they were supposed to be, as shown in this Wright's guide. In short, will this be short? No, it will not. The victim should have been standing with his back to the spring and the accused in front. However, if that is how they were really standing, he couldn't have stepped into the spring as he approached her. The problem is the victim did step into the spring. This can only mean that Ms. Fey had actually been standing in the water, but we saw the broken lantern. But if this is true, then their positions would have been completely kurikaisu'd. What is going on here, Ms. Fey? Were you really standing in the spring? I'm sorry, but I barely remember anything about the rite. The High Priest would never make such an obvious blunder. Don't call it a blunder, we'll just call it a stenank. That's enough, you can't say that. There's rules. You can only say objection or take that. Be that as it may, this does not overturn my insights. It doesn't? Alright, have a good night, Ever. Let us say the accused was standing in the spring. So what? So what? This completely gaktens their positions, is what? That their positions differed from what is customary is rather curious. However, what does that change? It certainly does not erase the accused's brutal crime. Dots? I guess you have a point there. And hold it. Well, fine. This completely gostacks their positions. Oh man, am I gonna start speaking Gostak? You lawyers are an absurd breed. Never thinking ahead, you cling to the first unhemi contradiction you can muster. Irk! Sounds like Princess Rafa has a pretty good grasp on what lawyers are all about. Oh Maya, where would I be without your brutally frank commentary right now? I'd be in the hell of back pain. Is this contradiction really meaningless? But something really doesn't feel right. Did I take a wrong deeve somewhere? Did I pell at an unhemi dape? Pell lut? I will now amend... Well, I clicked it before I read it. I know what she means, though. You damn tough lawyers, unable to distem even the hemiest dash. Now, the contradiction is no more. It has been zanked. But the truth of the matter still stands, no matter how stubbornly you deny it. What do you have to say for yourself now, Mr. Wright? Nick. Your Majesty, this lawyer may have raised a trivial objection, but her benevolence's insights have no further inadequacies of any kind. Voltenphase, what if you deny it really stubbornly? Then you win. That's how you win the game. Wait a second, but there is another contradiction. Still you flounder about, wretched Gomes, Gropples, Fosk, Lail. What are they called? The things that have snarvy plunks. What was it called? No, Mervis Goves, right? Panks. No. Was it a pank? What lailed the grapple? Was it a pank? Yes. Pilters! Wretched Pilter. Though you rack that putrid brain of yours, nothing worthwhile will come of it. Maya, please tell me you remember something from the Gostak that might help us out here. Sorry, I really don't remember a thing. But now that the place I was standing in has changed, who knows? That alone may cause a new discrepancy with Princess Rafa's insights. That's right. We now know that Maya was standing in the spring. A major change like that could very well produce a contradiction. I should take another look at the inner sanctum diagram in the court record and confirm where Maya and Abbot Inme were standing, and then focus on finding any discrepancy. Okay, it's the lantern. Come on. There's all so that came up before that they're like, oh, it's something blah blah. It was so cold, it was almost freezing. And I'm like, how is that cold? Because I'm in New York. If it's above freezing, it's not cold. Fight her off by the Springside Lantern. Not true, because oh, no, wait, not yet, not yet. After we see it break.
Objection!
Perfect trial, just like last time. Your benevolence, I've found a new contradiction. Gugh. You did. Now fix yourself, text. No doubt it is another one of your vile attempts to slander my insights. Nope. Take a good look at what the victim saw. It just might change your mind. Yeah, there are a lot of pun names. Yeah. His full name is Trust in Me, and his wife is Believe in Me. The guy we were defending for the first one, the tour guide, is I'll Be Your Guide. The guy who escaped from prison is... well, he's not good enough to be in here. What was his name? He had an awful name too. It was like very dangerous guy. Pray Zealot. We don't know their name. There's Believe in Me. Yeah, they're actually, they've turned it up a little too far. I think they could dial it back a little bit with the... yeah, that's horrible. That's horrible. Take a good look at what the victim saw. It just might change your mind. The lantern flame behind the accused was flickering. There is nothing unusual about that, especially as the wind had stirred. No, that's where you're wrong. If the accused had been standing in the spring... Then what you see here should be one of the... Then what you see here should be one of the lanterns flanking the statue. I fail to see your point. My point is, something is wrong here. The two lanterns flanking the statue were both outfitted with glass wind guards, so neither lantern's flame should have been flickering in the wind in the first place. Heh. Uh-oh, we walked right into her trap. She seems pretty tickled? I don't remember saying anything funny. I fail to see what you wish to prove here, but... Very well. I shall refine the vision and reveal the truth for all to see. Also true. Yeah, they said Abbott in me like 5 or 6 times before they finally like said his first name, and it was a bit like, what are you implying here, game? Oh, blessed Mitma, I beseech you, fix your sight upon the lantern there. Huh? That lantern doesn't have a wind guard on it. And rightly so. For the wind guard was removed to reveal the sacred flame within for the rite of fire. Therefore, there is nothing odd about the flame flickering. Say what? But when we searched the crime scene, those lanterns had their wind guards on. That's because the police put them back on. The sacred flames have burned uninterrupted for hundreds of years, Defense. We could not risk them being extinguished, even during an investigation. That would never fly back home. Well, Barbed Head, are you done quibbling? If so, then it is time to bow down before this testimony of the Mitma. Don't worry, Maya. I'm just getting started. Alright, let's go over everything we know so far. Maya was wearing Lady Kira's robes and standing in the spring. The High Priest is thought to have been moving towards her, so I should look for sensations that stand in contradiction to this arrangement. I won't give up. I'm going to find a contradiction that will undermine the accusation against Maya. Oh, well, wait. Okay, so it is like I thought. He started off facing in one direction, and then he turned... Okay. So how do I disprove that? Do I... Tampering with magical evidence. Or no, you're saying the police. The police changed the crime scene.
Objection!
That wasn't right. Nope. Inconsistent exactly. That's where the inconsistency lies. Accuse someone of being a witch. That seemed to be the magic ticket the last time. So, a couple days ago, I was kind of like, oh, okay, there's other achievements that I can get that I never went and got, and I'm like, oh, well, there's all of these like crafting and gathering ones that are just like, oh, gather a bunch of things in this, in, you know, nodes of this level in this zone of the game, and, you know, oh, craft a bunch of recipes for this crafting class within this level range. And I was like, oh, I'll just bang those out. They got quick synthesis, they got quick gathering. They want you to do thousands. And although I started working on them, I'm kind of sitting there going, do I really, like, is this really worth anything whatsoever to me to go, yep, I did it. I crafted 3,000 electrum ingots at a loss, because you can't really sell them for a profit. And even if I could, how would I move 3,000 of them? It would take weeks. 5 leveling roulettes within 5 days. 4 of them were just the normal primals. Which you get a lot less experience for. But they're also short. So I need to like right here. He's bowing to, I guess his... Alright, let's do that with Springside Lantern. Even though he's not rushing off right here, we'll say it anyway. Say this is not the Springside Lantern.
Objection!
Now we're good. What could this possibly mean? That lantern clearly contradicts the insight, but this contradiction will overturn the entire case I've been building. Are you all right, Mr. Wright? 1 minute you shout out, and the next you fall silent. Perhaps it is like the bellow of one who is barreling down a hill with no way of stopping. Is that not right, Prosecutor Sadmati? Don't get cold feet now, Phoenix. Even if this overturns the entire case you've built so far, the only way is to keep moving forward, because that's where we'll find the truth. Sorry, but I'm not barreling down a hill. In fact, I'm in full control of everything with the indisputable contradiction I found. Is that so? The lantern behind the accused clearly, no, blatantly contradicts your insight. Does it now? One of the lanterns on the entrance side of the inner sanctum was broken, and if you watch what Abbot Indy saw in his final moments, you will notice that the lantern behind the praying form of Ms. Fey is broken. The lantern behind Lady Kira, however, is still intact. In short, we are seeing 2 different lanterns in this seance vision. How could this be? And even if it were so, how would that contradict my insights? Someone fixed the lantern. It was Savine. He's been working on crafting. Let me start by saying the claim I'm about to raise will overturn the case I've built thus far. Will the defense please explain himself? Based on the broken lantern, we can tell... What does that mean? Where the accused and victim were standing. But did you just... doesn't make sense. Oh, okay. No, never mind. It's the right answer. I'd like to call Lantern is intact to the stand, and his evil twin, Lantern is broke. But did you not just finish asserting that the accused was standing somewhere else? I did, and I built my argument on that faulty premise. But thankfully, it has led us here, to the actual spot where Maya Fey was standing. I must say, if the defense keeps changing its assertions in such a capricious manner, its credibility may come into question. I'm willing to take that risk, Your Majesty, because I believe this will be the last time. I'd like to start by pointing out the actual spot where the accused was standing. Very well. Show us where you now believe the accused was actually standing. So if this is that's him. Wound up standing behind him, right?
Take that!
I wasn't thinking straight before, but now it's all falling into place. We know the victim had stepped into the spring. That means Maya Fey had to have been standing in the water as he approached. However, his memory, which has only now become clear, reveals that Ms. Fey was standing by the side of the broken lantern. In other words, she was standing where she was supposed to be, according to custom. Does that not bring us back to the very beginning? No. This is where things take a different turn, and I mean that literally. The victim had to have been moving toward the spring. That means that while he was moving, he had his back turned towards the accused. What's this? Do you mean to say that the victim turned around during the rite? But such an image appears nowhere in the seance vision. Actually, it does appear. It's just that no one noticed until now. No one noticed? How could no one have noticed something so big? That's what she said. There was a moment when the scripture the victim was holding was all we could see. Thanks to that, none of us could tell that he was, in fact, turning around in that moment. Turned around. Every now and then I get a little bit murdered and the suspect weren't around. Slow-mo doves. If you've never seen it, Total Eclipse of the Heart literal version is fantastic. It is one of the best videos out there that one can watch. Where someone takes the music video to Total Eclipse of the Heart and redubs it with lyrics that describe what's going on in the video, which is insane. The video was made by a crazy person. But Arthur Fonzarelli's got an army of clones. It's so good. If it is as the defense asserts, then her benevolence's insights no longer make sense. How do you intend to explain
Objection!
that? I don't need to explain anything because it's just as you said, Prosecutor Sadmati. Her benevolence's insights don't make any sense because they contain a huge error. Such insolence. A huge error, you say? Do explain. The huge error is the number of people there. I believe this is what happened at the scene of the crime. The victim was reading a sutra when suddenly he sensed someone behind him. He immediately looked back to see someone dressed as Lady Kira standing there. Wishing to see who it was, he approached the robed figure. And that's when he was stabbed. I just had a thought. Was this just like hanging on there and he, like an idiot, just ran face first into the spiky statue and killed himself? Was this actually a suicide? Are you Nagito? Take off that mask. He's wearing a mask and he's freaking Nagito underneath. Huge error. As the robed figure did not clarify that it was nothing personnel. the victim was forced to assume that it was, in fact, personnel. See, whatever happened to people invoking those memes instead of just stupid memes like they do now? Get off my lawn. Oh, but it can, and it is. The insight stating the accused stabbed the victim is wrong. And that is the real truth lying behind this testimony of the dead. Poe? Poe? Poe. Poe Kunka! Papa Pichu, are you suggesting that there was someone else at the scene of the crime? Have I misunderstood the voice of the Mitma yet again? This cannot be. Phew, that was a close one. But I managed to divine the true meaning behind the seance vision somehow. I should add these new facts to the court record. I can do that. Quick, accuse him of murder. She is only unconscious. She is not dead, she is only unconscious, but she doesn't have a robot eye, which makes it just as bad as being killed. Your benevolence, please allow me to take it from here. I will overturn the brash accusations of this faithless, putrid-minded lawyer. Yes, I shall place my trust in you. And then she faded out. Are you sure about this, Prosecutor Sadmani? My work as an international prosecutor has taken me to courtrooms around the world. And in that time I have learned to perform last rites for souls in trials lacking a seance. Yes, of course. Forgive my ludicrous inquiry. Moreover, I have with me a forensic investigator from overseas, okay? I will show you the most magnificent last rites ever seen. I guess he really does think highly of Emma and her forensic expertise. I'm impressed that he's come to understand their value. Then again, he is an international prosecutor who solved tough cases around the world. Prosecutors solve cases, by the way. That's what that's called. Time to hunker down, huh? Now then, let us continue with today's proceedings. Could the defense please tell us who the third party dressed as Lady Kira was? Your new claim has negated the insights of the royal priestess, so I trust you have some evidence to support it, correct? Yes, of course. This third party must have really wanted to kill the high priest. I might be able to identify who it was if I had evidence of their murderous intent. What is that? Satsuki? I don't know. Well, we're waiting, Mr. Wright. The evidence that can reveal the identity of the third party is this.
Take that!
3 days before the purification rite, the victim received a warning letter from an unidentified individual. He did? Whoever sent it clearly meant to threaten the high priest. The letter said, "Do not perform the rite," but the rite went on as scheduled. I believe that is why the high priest was murdered. The evidence is very real, and I have it in this folder. Like, he has actually pulled those before, where they're like, "Do you have evidence?" He's like, "Yes, of course I have evidence." I do not have evidence. And then when you pick the right one, he's basically guessing. There's at least one where that's happened, where he's like, maybe if we take a look at the videotape, it'll help. And then he accidentally stumbles upon the thing. Who do you suppose sent the letter? A person with something to hide. The rebel hunter disguised as Lady Kira herself. Peace. I don't understand. I had heard the Lady Kira that has been in the news of late only hunted rebels. If so, why would she have killed the High Priest? Excellent question. Maybe it would help to think of it this way. What if the High Priest had secretly been a rebel? Whoa. The High Priest, he couldn't possibly have been a rebel. The High Priest, a devout follower of Khura'inism, a rebel? That's as ridiculous as our Jesus Sitar guy secretly being a murderer. But that happened too. Do you even comprehend the blasphemy of what you speak? Well, do you? I, too, found it hard to believe at first. But as I continued my investigation, it started to become more and more plausible. If this turns out to be the statue, then who was let her? A third party was the rebel-hunting Lady Kira, and the High Priest was a rebel? Your mockery of Khura'inism. No. The kingdom of Khura'in itself knows no bounds. Whoops. That shameless Polkunkan lawyer, he's making a mockery of our religion. The infamous Statue of Limitations. That's who killed him. As a faithful Khura'inist, I take issue with these claims, and I am loath to admit them into today's proceedings. I don't like where this is going. The defense's claims are but vile blasphemy tantamount to spitting on the Holy Mother. Is it really that big of a deal, Maya? Abbot Enmi was a distinguished monk and very well respected too, so yeah. Ugh. Please don't let this turn into an international incident. But fear not, good people of Khura'in. The rantings of this putrid-brained lawyer who seeks to sully the soul of the deceased shall come to no avail once I conclude these last rites. The prosecution's assertion that the accused killed the victim remains unchanged. But the victim was stabbed in his abdomen. How is that possible when he had his back turned towards Ms. Fay? Someone else must have killed him. Are you sure about that? You may have invalidated the seance, but do not let it go to your putrid head. You know what? Okay, so it could be that the High Priest was not a rebel, but as long as the person who killed him thought that he was, that's good enough. He doesn't have to actually be one. The karmic flow of this trial is, as yet, still in my hands. Kelahunka, final coil. Wow. Like, in Black Mage? I mean, Blue Mage group? Because I gotta do that someday. Someday that's gonna be a thing I gotta do. Although maybe not. Also, yeah, how actually are we claiming that it's not possible to stab someone in the abdomen from behind? Like, of course you can. You just give them a little wah. You just bear hug. You haven't touched Blue. Savine, I think, was the one giving me blue tips the other day. Something has occurred to me, you see, and your allegations of a third party are but a deluded fantasy. And I shall prove that by calling a new witness to the stand. An eyewitness who will deliver a definitive answer that will dispel the defense's doubts. An eyewitness? Very well. Let us call this eyewitness to the stand. I did get, I got J-Kick the other day. I did, A8. Got J-Kick. Oh. It's him again! Well now, he has to be the shaggiest witness I have ever laid eyes upon. Please state your name and occupation. It's gonna be something dumb. Oh, I'm, you know, that so-and-so, whatchamacallit. Might have had enough of this game already for one day. No, we'll keep going. We'll keep going till 9. Anonymous TBD. At least that's what they've been calling me. TBD, as in to be determined? Can't you just tell us your real name? The witness has suffered a blow to the head, and as a result is as stupid as this game is. Therefore, I named him Anonymous TBD in my report, but he thinks TBD is part of his name.
Objection!
You're letting an amnesiac testify? Have no fear, I have already questioned him at length. The witness has memory problems. Let's submit his testimony. While it is true he has utterly forgotten his name and past, his memory of what he witnessed is still very much intact. Considering the dearth of information, any new knowledge may be of help. Therefore, I will permit his testimony. Now, Mr. Imus, please tell us what you saw. That night, I was up at the top of Mount Pony Pony, the mountain next to the inner sanctum. I hate crowds, so I climbed up there to pray in peace. I know it's a no-no, but since there was no one around, I used my binoculars to spy on the right of the inner sanctum. That's when I saw the accused stab the high priest with a dagger. He can't lie if all he can do is repeat the things I say, like that his name is TBD. There's no way you saw Ms. Face stab the victim with a dagger. I swear I don't know what he's talking about. Or don't remember at any rate. Mount Pony Pony. The beautiful mountain that is also known as the Little Sanctum. Aren't there curtains completely surrounding this? They must be talking about that smaller mountain from the poster. Mr. Imus, I was wondering, what can I do you for? The inner sanctum lies at a high elevation where clouds and fog can obscure the view. Are you sure you were able to see what happened from the mountaintop next to it? Good point. His Majesty raises an excellent question. Well, Mr. Imus? On the day of the riot, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. I had a perfect view. If you don't believe me, check the weather forecast in the paper that day. Nick, don't we have the newspaper for that day? Yeah, let's take a look. It does say calm, clear skies, doesn't it? Curtains for you. The area around the inner sanctum will enjoy calm, clear skies today. The warmer temperature will make for excellent prayer weather. Be warned, however, that we'll see a cold front move in overnight. See, I told you so. Well, it would appear the witness has offered testimony worth hearing. Mr. Imus, I too have a question for you. Didn't he already question the witness? Well, that's what I'm here for, right? Shoot. How was the accused holding the dagger? Was she holding it underhanded, its blade protruding from the bottom of her hand? Yep, I believe she was. It's called a reverse grip. I thought as much.
Hold it!
Hold it right there. What bearing does that have on this case? Cease your interruptions, you putrid-headed lawyer. Do you not see the significance in how the blade was held? She is a Counter-Strike player, and by holding the knife she was able to run at a faster speed. Why don't you enlighten me, O enlightened one? Feh. I knew you were a fool. I can already picture you in your next life. Next life? Yes. After your soul writhes for centuries in the pits of hell. Only centuries? The tickling hell is 500 million years. You will be reborn as a witless sea urchin, with barbs limited to your posterior. You shall live a short, inconsequential life, only to be brutally devoured by a sea otter. That was a bit excessive. I simply asked what the dagger grip had to do with the case. Now pay attention. How the accused held the dagger is of vital importance. With such information, we can infer exactly what action she took. You were saying that the victim was killed while he had his back to the accused. Is that correct? Yes. As such, the accused's dagger grip tells us something very important. The accused approached the victim from behind, swung her arms around him, and plunged the dagger into his abdomen using a reverse grip. Even holding it normal style, you could still do that. You could still, like, Heimlich maneuver it. It doesn't either way. Either way works. Thus, Mr. Amos's testimony clears up any doubts that might remain. And it coincides with her benevolence's insights as well. This is a pasta disaster. I thought I'd blown those insights out of the water, but now they're back to haunt me. Now then, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Right, we've already said, no footsteps. Only bells. Oops. Next to the sanctum.
Hold it!
Did you really see what you say you did? Are you saying I'm lying about this? Well, I'm not. It's etched permanently in this old noggin. But I didn't do what you say I did. I didn't even get a chance to touch the dagger on the day of the rite. What do I know of that? All I know is what I saw. Never even seen you before in my life. What possible reason could I have to lie? Erg. I didn't expect there to be any witnesses way up there. But I don't remember doing that at all. I know. I have a feeling the witness is lying. There has to be an inconsistency somewhere in his testimony. Should take another look at the court record. When has that ever helped? Let's actually review. I don't even remember everything that I have. The purification rite is a 3-point ceremony when the moon is directly over the summer. Oh, oh, really? I didn't even think of that. Okay, you have to do it when the moon is directly over. Okay. Wait a second. Hang on. These two mountains are what, like 10 miles apart? The moon it's just up. It's not, there is no, like, if you're on this mountain, it's overhead, and if you're on this one, it's all the way over there. The moon is millions of miles away. This is silly. You are silly. Your directions are silly, and so is the religion. Roads, incense, right waters, it's about that, priests are infernal about that. Prayer, fancy bath, Lady Kira figure, town eggers, and the flesh and the fuel. Thick white ice, throughout the bottom, melted, bright, happy rocky. Escaped prisoner, look out for male insurgent. Weather forecast, cold front. Bladed weapon, warbod dagger. Mark on his face. Oh, alright, we'll need that one day. The letter we found in the inner sanctum, giant bloodstain makes it impossible to read. Our moon is 30 miles across and is only 700 meters up in the air. Naturally. Like, we didn't mean the regular moon, we meant Dalamud. It's right there. It's literally right there. You can actually jump and touch it. There's that whole snow removal thing. That's going to come into play, too. Prayer flags sewn into a banner. Right. Ritual curtain. Yeah, the entrance... Okay. This is... You couldn't have seen this. Oh, pie.
Hold it!
You got a pair of binoculars with you? That's pretty convenient. You weren't planning to spy on the Wright all along, were you? Actually, I just happened to have him for bird watching in the middle of the night. Bird watching, huh? I see. You're not going to keep pressing him on this? He's sketchy as heck, but I don't really have anything to sink my teeth into yet. Okay. Ha 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 ha! I love the great outdoors. That's just the kind of guy I am. A guy called Anonymous TBD. Dots. He's really starting to get on my nerves. As I looked through my binoculars, I couldn't believe what was unfolding before me. Alright, so they almost specifically said not to do it on this one. Yeah, there's a curtain, sir. You can't see that.
Objection!
What? Why? Is it actually the previous one? Like, we know it's the curtain. Or maybe it's too soon to say the... No, come on. Come on.
Objection!
They said not to. He's like, there's nothing there I can sink my teeth into. I better just quit the game and play the messenger instead. Is it actually? I think it's Larry Bots. That's who I think. That's who I thought it was. Like, as soon as he showed up the first time, I'm like, that's Larry. I had my doubts about this bushy-bearded witness, but now I know we can't trust him. What? You ain't just judging me solely on my bodacious beard, are you? Not at all, Mr. Innes. It's much more than your sketchy appearance. It's your sketchy testimony. Ooh. His testimony, you say? Yes. Recall how the inner sanctum was that day. Specifically, that it was completely enclosed by the ritual curtain. Why, yes, I believe you're right. The curtain would have completely blocked the witness's view from Mount Pony Pony. Therefore, he couldn't have possibly seen the murder happen. Hoo-ha! Mr. Immis, have you been knowingly making false statements to this court? Larry Butts. I don't know. They might not have seen each other for this, you know, the whole 7 years, the whole time skip. You got me. The witness will lower his voice. I didn't actually see the accused herself. He didn't actually see the accused herself. What's that supposed to mean? Let me set the record straight. I beg you. What is this bunch of malarkey? Amended. I saw their shadowy silhouettes projected against the ritual curtain. The figures were created by the light of the full moon on that clear and still night. She was just a shadow, but I could tell it was the accused reverse gripping that dagger. From the Greek bina, which means through, and kular, which means curtain. We saw shadows. By the way, if I get this wrong, then she and I are going to be put to death for obvious murder. I can see what was going on by the shadows projected on the ritual curtain. This is actually going to be the stupid moon. He's saying, like, never mind the fact that shadows from moonlight aren't even discernible. Like, we're gonna say, no, the moon wasn't over this mountain, it was over this mountain. That's where it was. Oh man, this is bad. I mean, it's good that I'm gonna get it right, but it's forgive me, my main man, Mr. Magistrate, chalk it up to my fuzzy memory. Though he saw but shadows, it is still valuable testimony. Or is it just going to be that because the moon was directly overhead in general, that means that their shadows would have been straight down? Like, what are we going to do now, Nick? You would think it would be the shadows from the lantern, but he said that the shadows were from the moonlight. Whatever it was. The figures were created by the light of the full moon. All I can think of is to look for inconsistencies between the actual Wright and what Mr. Amos says he saw. Cross-examine the witness once more. Let's go. Can they? It's hard to imagine a moon shadow. Well, I don't know. I guess it's been a while since I was anywhere that would be that dark, where it would be, you know, not have any natural light around to the point where you could see somebody's shadow. All right. Shadowy silhouette, blah, blah. Did I just accidentally resize this a little bit? We're just gonna present the stupid thing.
Objection!
You saw silhouettes projected by the moonlight? Sorry, but that's just not possible. What do you mean? How is it not possible that it was totally possible? That's impossible. I think I'm going to need a logical ease translation on that. Let's take a look at this Wright's guide, shall we, Mr. Amos? The Wright is held when the moon is directly over the summit of Mount Pony Pony. Do. So if the moon was shining from the west, any shadows would have been cast eastward. We are actually taking that. We're actually saying that these two mountains, which are snuggled up against each other, carried away by a moonlight. I even missed it. All right. Wait. Isn't that a song from DDR? It's totally a song from DDR. The guy who did the Exorcist theme also writes DDR songs, I suppose. But Mr. Amos was standing to the west of the inner sanctum on Mount Pony Pony. Oh, Holy Mother! That's right. Our witness here couldn't have seen any shadowy figure on that curtain. No way! Perhaps it was the sacred flames of the lanterns that cast the shadows he saw. I'm afraid not. I inspected them during my investigation, but the flames were too small to cast the crisp, distinct figures Mr. Amos claims to have seen. But I did see those silhouettes. But how could he, Nick? Maybe he was someplace where they were visible. Wait, don't tell me. Your Majesty, if Mr. Immis really did see those shadows, it brings a brand new fact to light. And that would be? It would be a fact that we'll find out on Thursday when we pick up with more Phoenix Wright Spirit of Justice. Because we're done. I know it's not from DDR, but it was in DDR. Previously on Next Time. Thank you guys for being here. If you want to see more Phoenix Wright, we'll be doing that on Thursday. Finishing The Messenger on Saturday, probably. If we don't quite finish it, that will be my Sunday stream. And then after that, I'm also going to start EG, which was recommended by Volton Phase, or Faded Oasis, same thing.